Welcome to the basement.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Boys podcast. I am Chris Gray. That is Devin Mitchell. Eric will be with us shortly. He's running a little late. We'll get around it, but he will be here. But let's jump in the quarterback carousel might just have added one more of them little horsey things on a stick.
I'm not even sure if you calling this a little horsey thing. Like, this is a big horsey thing.
Yeah, this one of those ones that you can fit like 3 people in. It's like a sled looking shit. Like, that's what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Russell Wilson has come out and said, hey, fucking get me someone to block or trade my ass.
Danger Russ Wilson threw his name into the hat. Yo, I gotta say, I kind of like the way he's handling this. Kind of like a little shade at the organization, telling Seattle, hey, listen, I've been hit almost 400 times this season, the most of my career, most of this season. Give me a line. Well, you know what? We might have other problems. And I love how he's telling reporters like, hey, that's a Seattle problem. That's a Seahawks problem. Like kind of trying to force Seattle to do something about it.
Yeah, and the thing with Russ is he is literally like, he's on track if he keeps putting up these same numbers to be the most sacked quarterback in NFL history.
Move over David Carr.
Like, you hear about Russell Wilson, he's trying to go like the LeBron, Tom Brady route. He spends a lot of fucking money to keep his body together.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't the team do the same thing? I understand where he's coming from.
And don't forget, like, there was a while, I'm not sure if he's still doing it, but he was also training for baseball too. So like all year round, you training, you spend all this money to stay in shape, be ready to go. And then come Sunday, during the season, you getting hit 3 or 4 times, getting sacked 5 times, whatever it may be. Like, that's just not going to cut it.
Yeah. Russ has been such a major factor for this team, and I get it. Paying him made them like break up the Legion of Boom and like got all his weapons out of town. But at the same time, you can build through the draft. Look what you did with DK.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still have Lockett there. He's getting a little older, but he's not.
He's a solid receiver. You still got your running game, which when healthy, it's a pretty damn good running game.
Yeah, Chris Carson's getting a little up there himself, though. I feel like he didn't look like himself last season.
I think he was also dealing with I feel like that man's just always injured though. Like he's always coming back from injury, whether it be like knee problem, leg problem, broken hand or whatever it may be. But like every season I felt like he's like had to deal with some sort of injury.
Well, Devin, the best ability is what now?
Availability.
There you go. I mean, no shots on Chris Carson. I love the guy. He won me my league a couple years ago, but
listen, if someone in the NFL is looking just for, a number 53 on the 53-man roster, give me a call. I'll put on muscle right now, and I will hold all the towels. I will get all the water. I will get all the coffee, whatever. Just put me as 53. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you see this slender frame I have now, but back in the day, Chris was a big boy. Chris played some offensive line out here, right?
Listen, I'm not going to be able to block a 300-pounder. Let's be real. But if you need a tackling dummy,
nah, fuck
I'm your
that.
man.
I got it. Russ, I'm scrappy. Sign me up, all right?
I would get murdered so fast.
I can put the weight back on. I've been there.
Listen, pay me the league minimum. And like I said, number 53 right here. But yeah, it's interesting though. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a free agency with this many job opportunities for quarterbacks.
I don't think there ever has been, because the people there's like 5 quarterbacks set in the league right now, and one is going to be 44-year-old Tom Brady, which is just fucking nuts.
Fucking ridiculous,
right?
If him and his avocado tequila can like keep it up, like, oh my goodness.
I don't know if anyone's job is safe but his. Him and like Pat Mahomes, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, I think if the Ravens could make a play for Deshaun Watson, they'd move on from Lamar. Not that I think like they'd be stoked about moving on from Lamar, but I
I
think
think
I think Deshaun Watson changes everything.
I was about to say if Deshaun Watson is available and Houston's listening, I think all the other 31 teams, realistically 30 teams or whatever, are going to potentially take a look at it and be like, is this an upgrade of what we have? Can we make a move for Deshaun?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. People are saying the Lions are going to try to flip the
Jared
two
Goff?
the two Ram picks in golf, and then probably another one of their picks or something like that for him.
Yo. I mean, if the Lions pulled that off, like,
That
well
would not
done.
that would not be a bad play. Going from
Mm.
like a 36-year-old Matt Stafford, something like that, 34,
It's 30 something, yeah.
to 25-year-old fucking possible goat. Like,
And I forget who the GM is in Detroit, but well done. Like, flip Stafford for like 2 first round picks and Goff. And then you flip that for the future of the league in Deshaun Watson. Like, well done.
I mean, maybe this GM was chosen by God.
Houston is so in shambles right now. It's not even funny.
Oh my God, Houston needs to like. Though to be fair, if they could flip Deshaun for 3 number ones and Goff to like hold place for a little bit, and then maybe find one through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
wouldn't
take
hate
that
it.
deal. You
Yeah.
take that deal and you run with it.
They could probably get like 3 or 4 first rounders in Goff.
Yeah, I could do like 3 firsts, a second, and Goff.
I could see 4 firsts, honestly.
Do you think if they did, hypothetically speaking, obviously, if they were to do 4 first round picks, you think they throw a second round in there, or is it just straight up 4 first rounds?
I think it's 4 firsts in Goff, and I think that extra fourth, the extra first, the fourth one is again to take Goff's contract.
And I think they do got money too down there, right?
Yeah, and plus if they free up Deshaun Watson, that frees up a lot of space over there.
And in theory, they could. I mean, they'd be crazy to do this, but if they release J.J. Watt or trade him, like that's
Well,
money
no,
off the books.
He's also coming out and being like, "Look, I want a chance to actually win. I'm not here for another rebuild. I got like probably 3 good seasons left in me."
You know what's crazy is that J.J. Watt has like 3 good seasons left. Like I feel like that man could play forever.
I know he's another one of those guys that just doesn't seem to age.
Yeah. Like I keep thinking, oh, he's 22, just coming out of the league. No, he's been tearing offensive lines up, hitting quarterbacks for a good chunk of years right now.
Dude, he's been in the league. I think he started in the league when I was still in high school.
Yeah. Like
That's a long ass time ago at this point.
but like I'm saying, it's so crazy because it doesn't feel like it's been that long. Like I feel like, oh yeah, he's still like because the level he plays at, the what you call it, the numbers that he's putting up, it's just like looking like he's still fresh, right, and brand new into the league.
I would say his numbers have dipped a little bit. Like, cause you got to remember, like in his prime, like J.J. Watt was looked at like Aaron Darnold. He almost killed Alex Smith. Like, that's not a joke. He did.
I know. I forgot that he was the one that almost killed him.
But yeah. So his numbers have definitely dipped a little bit, but he's still one of the best fucking defensive linemen in the league.
Yeah.
But just in his prime, he was fucking a terror. He was Aaron Darnold before Aaron Darnold.
Yeah, everyone wanted to grow up to be J.J. Watt, and then Aaron Donald came in, became J.J. Watt, and then became Aaron Donald.
He became like the Super Saiyan form of J.J. Watt.
Yeah, and I think he's still gonna achieve like Super Saiyan 3 or 4 or something like that. Like he's not done yet.
Oh my God.
He's over there training with Vegeta in the hyperbolic chamber.
I was thinking about this the other day. You know what the Rams should have done with those 2 picks if they were willing to go that long without 2 first-round picks?
What's that?
They should have done the trade that Seattle did. Could you imagine Jamal Adams, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald? Well. Hold on. Eric's here. He's just peeing. Well, let's move into the reason everyone's here. The big game happened on Sunday.
There was a game on Sunday?
I think so.
Oh, shit. Was I sleeping?
I know some like old man was in it. Apparently he did good.
Really?
I guess so. This is what I'm hearing.
But yeah.
What about this young kid? I thought he was supposed to be good. Did he have a good game?
All right, let's fuck all this bullshit. All right, so we're talking Super Bowl. Yeah, so not the way I thought the Super Bowl would go down. Not at all.
Yo, you're not alone. A lot of people did not think it was going to happen that way. I mean, congrats to you for picking the Bucks to win, but holy
No, I
moly.
didn't pick the Bucks to win.
I took.
I
the
thought you
under.
did.
No, I took the Chiefs, but I did say I will. Nice little pat on the back here. I will say that I did say if there was going to be a way to beat them, it was going to be getting at Pat Mahomes, who was a little banged up. He was limping all over the place by the time the second half started. And that's what they did. They just kept him moving all night. And it was fine when he was only getting pressured like 19 times through 2 games or whatever that was.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're getting pressured 19 times per quarter, it's a completely different story.
And don't forget, he was dealing with a turf toe injury too. So it's kind of hard to run around when your toe's all banged up.
Right. Chris made that point, and he just did have surgery on that toe, so hopefully he'll be set for next year. The offensive line struggles clearly we're missing, Eric Fisher and the big names up front made a big impact. I don't think anybody was truly surprised to see Brady had a great game. Like, we all know Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, that makes sense. The surprise was that the Chiefs only scored 9 points. When was the last time the Kansas City Chiefs didn't score a touchouchdown?
It's been a long, long time, I think.
I don't think they've ever not scored a touchdown under Pat Mahomes' tenure.
Yeah, probably not, honestly. I couldn't tell you, but that was the big surprise for me. But they said Mahomes ran 496 yards before releasing the ball or being sacked.
That's ridiculous.
Most ever.
He made some wild fucking Nolan Arenado from third throws.
And they were still accurate. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah, he hit the guy right in the fucking face.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill.
That boy, he's something special because there was, like you said, like them throws he was making should not have been as accurate as they were. But like, dude's got 5 defenders on him, falling down to the ground, hits a man in the face. Come on.
Even in a loss, everyone's just still like, yo, this kid is fucking the truth, my guy. Like, even in a terrible blowout loss.
The craziest part is, like, he had so many plays where if they had completed the pass, we'd be talking about, like, the greatest Super Bowl pass ever.
Oh, yeah.
There's the one where he was literally horizontal, like parallel with the ground, chucks it 35 yards accurately, hits Hill in the face. There's a play early in the game where he was being chased, rolls out. Kelsey was at the first down marker and dropped it. Like, he did not. It wasn't Mahomes. It was kind of all the pieces around Mahomes not doing.
No, to be fair
respect.
to Travis, not to Kelsey, to Tyreek Hill on that play. No one would have caught that. There's no way you're thinking, oh, my quarterback is sideways 6 inches off the ground. He's about to throw the ball to me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Like,
okay, but that's something that no one's ever done, ever in a football game before.
that's
You know
what
they're
Patrick
going
Mahomes
into the
does.
offseason and they're going to be like, all right, so you
I
see
don't-
what he did. Be ready. Just be ready.
I don't care if he's upside down after 3 front flips because fucking Aaron Darnold hit him at full speed in the legs. He's getting that ball off.
Just be ready to catch that shit because it's coming to you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that Super Bowl. I mean, in the rankings of all the Super Bowls, this isn't going to be one that we remember for anything other than Brady winning without Belichick. Like, it was not a good game. The Bucs were in control pretty much the whole time. I think because it was the Chiefs, we all kept thinking, like, oh, there's a chance they wake up and they fight back. And, like,
Because they've done it every other time.
exactly. But it was like, when it was like 31-9 with like 8 minutes left, I would say any other team in the league, you're thinking game's over, it's done, whatever. But because it's Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, we're just like, maybe they can squeak something out. Maybe they can make it interesting.
I mean, look, last year they were down 24 points to Houston, and then they came back in a span of like 10 minutes or something.
No, even like once it got down to like halfway through the fourth, and there was like it was 31-9. I'm not gonna lie. You can ask our friend Mike. You will be meeting him at some point. We got a little plan for that man. But I literally just like started playing Pokemon. I was like, it's over.
It was that kind of game.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I enjoy games like that because we were talking about it a little earlier. This slender flame Chris isn't exactly what you've always seen. I played some O-line, but I also played some D-line. So I loved seeing JPP just fucking come out and fucking dominate like that. Like, I was having a great time watching that. He was playing with a type of intensity that, like, he's an intense guy and he's a great lineman. But if he plays like that every game,
Watch
he's
out.
going to be the next one.
Yeah, but JPP's got to be getting up there in age, right?
I know, but still, like, I'm
He
just
was-
saying, with the added intensity he played in that game, because it was, like, his shot to win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course. It's the Super Bowl. Everybody's intensity goes up in the Super Bowl.
No, I agree, but, like, that level of player, I don't care how old he's getting.
And could you imagine if he had all his fingers? Does that become a problem going down the line? Like, what if Brady resigns, JPP stays, and they go all the way back, they run it back-to-back championships? Does he run out of fingers for rings?
Well,
He's still got like 5 on one hand. I think the other hand's just missing like 2 or 3. So I mean, if he gets 7, then you might have to worry about this problem.
All right, so he can't reach Brady level.
I forget who said it, but someone was just like, he's lost more fingers than he has Super Bowls.
Oh, playoff games. Playoff games.
Undefeated in the playoffs.
Yeah, just know if JPP gets in, there's no stopping JPP.
Oh, yeah.
You down with JPP?
Yeah, you know me.
I think it's cool to see the collection of players that teamed up. Like, we've been saying all season that they became the Avengers, and now you just get to see, like, hey, Antonio Brown, you went absolutely apeshit. You lost your mind, got arrested, pissed off the Steelers and Raiders and whatever. You got your ring. Redemption. Full redemption.
Hey,
Leonard Fournette, you didn't show up to practice a few times. You came out saying you didn't like your coach in Jacksonville. You got cut. You got your ring.
I hate that every fucking pundit has been calling it the LeBronization of the NFL.
What does that
It's these people trying to get out to get themselves in better situations.
mean?
And, like, I get it. They signed a contract, blah, 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 but you also signed a contract, too. You said you were going to put your funds and your resources into this team, and if I feel like you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain, you should have an out, too.
Well, I don't want to get too sidetracked away from the Super Bowl, but if you want to talk about those two specific players, like Leonard Fournette was drafted by the Jaguars, which is probably like the worst ran franchise historically. In recent years,
Maybe the Lions.
I was going to say the Lions are probably the worst.
Yeah, the line's been a little shaky the last
Lions-
forever.
The last like 65 years. But the Jaguars are pretty bad. So the Jaguars didn't really help him out in any way, shape, or form. Antonio Brown's kind of the opposite situation.
True.
The Steelers were kind of like, look, dude, like, we'll put Ben Roethlisberger around you. We'll build the offensive line. We're not even going to take a running back because we don't ever want to run the ball while you're here. The Steelers kind of gave him what he wanted, and he just
got mad that Juju was good, too.
Yeah, he kind of started acting a fool on his own. He had some criminal shit, like throwing stuff out the balcony and hitting people and sexual assault. Like, Antonio Brown did it to himself. Leonard Fournette, I see it differently.
No, I 100% agree. I just hate that it's called the LeBronization. That was just the one point I was trying to make.
That's ESPN. Everything's LeBron.
I know.
Of course. You know, it's real crazy. LaShawn McCoy has 2 Super Bowl rings
And has
without
played
playing a play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, props to LeSean.
Yeah, right? That was fucking nuts. He's literally he went back to back. Everyone else.
What's wild is like the three of us have combined for as many snaps in the Super Bowl as he has.
And he has 2 rings.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Where's my fucking 2 rings, all right?
We got to talk about all like Todd Bowles got a ring. Congrats. Like Todd Bowles, excellent defensive game plan to stop the Chiefs. I mean, like yes, the Bucs have a great defense. The Chiefs had the offensive line issues. Mahomes had the turf toe, but still, like they had the safeties over top watching Hill. They let Kelsey get the yards, but not the scores. They did everything they needed to do. Todd Bowles had a great game, and he deserved the ring.
Well, like I thought his game plan was absolutely beautiful, because he basically went up to like JPP, Ndamukong Suh, all those guys, and said, "Hey, you are getting no help today. Make it work," and they did. And then they did not bring their safeties up, I think, on one play.
Yes. You can't. You just can't with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey on the other side.
So they double, tripled him with the safeties any time he went long. And Gronk, they just played bend and don't break on him.
Well, speaking of the safeties, Anton Winfield Jr., what did he do? The peace sign or whatever
Oh,
it was?
yeah.
Tyreek Hill's peace sign.
Tyreek Hill, you got to get him back. So that was nice. Levante David had an incredible game. I mean, I think he should have been MVP, but I totally understand where you have to give it to Brady when Brady wins. I mean,
Yeah, and he's 43 years old.
He's 43 years old. And he did have a good game. He did. He had 3 touchdowns. Like, look at Gronk. Gronk didn't play last year. Took a year off, comes back, 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Gronk is the man for pulling it out for one game.
Let's take a second that all the touchdowns scored by the Bucs were by players that either weren't on the Bucs last year or just simply weren't in the league. Like,
Yeah.
Gronk had 2. He was retired last year. Antonio Brown had a touchdown. He was suspended. Leonard Fournette was on the Jags. And, like, that just shows that they were like, we want to play with Brady and we'll win a championship.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think the interesting question now is what did they do with the free agency? Because they got a lot of players available. And, a lot of players want to come back.
Yeah, but I think the way this team was orchestrated this year, everyone kind of understood. We're not going to get paid as much, but we're going to get a ring.
Right.
So I think those players are going to be like, well, worked last year.
Yeah, it was sacrificing a little bit of money for a greater common good.
But I'm talking about, like, you got, I think, Chris Godwin. He's available for free agent.
I don't think he's coming back.
I could see him going because he was playing on a rookie contract. And so, yeah, you get
He's
your
looking
ring,
to get paid.
go make your money.
He's also looking for his cell phone Verizon. So send him a new one.
I missed it
Oh,
during the parade.
yeah. I think Mike Evans was on live, and right at the end of his live, Chris Godwin grabs his phone. He goes, "Oh, you on live? Verizon, Scotty Miller dropped my phone off the boat. Send me a new one."
And then Scotty Miller chimes in, yo, Verizon, hook up my boy, man. Like, I dropped his phone
Tinfoil
in
hat.
the river.
Is this a subliminal ad for Verizon? Probably.
I mean, it can be.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're a couple days late after the Super Bowl. It was 31-9 Bucks. Whoever had those squares. I think our friend Matt at work actually had those squares and made like $450.
Really good for Matt.
So good for Matt.
Well done,
Matt rakes in money off of fucking football
he's
season.
the Super Bowl guy.
Yo, that's actually Kisco Matt to y'all. Put some
Kisco
respect on
Matt.
that name.
Kisco Matt.
Are we just moving on and just going right into the Bucks parade, the Bucks celebration? Because I'm ready.
I think they're still celebrating right now. I don't think they stopped.
It's Tampa Bay. Party don't stop.
Oh my
Tom
God.
Brady has been drinking so much avocado tequila, it's not even funny.
That looked like the most lit situation since the coronavirus started.
Yeah, there wasn't a mask in sight, which may cause problems down the line. But
to be fair, they were at the very least all on boats with the other teammates who had been tested throughout that time. You know what I mean? I'm still not for it.
Dude, no, there's so many Instagram models all over those boats.
Were there?
Dude,
I only saw like the throw. I saw the Chris Godwin thing.
Follow Gronk on the gram.
I don't follow Gronk on the gram. I don't know why I don't follow Gronk on the gram, but...
Side note, can we just talk about how Brady just threw the Lombardi trophy to Gronk from boat to boat?
That's what we got to talk about.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like, you hear his kids yelling, Dad, no, Dad, no.
As I'm watching the video, I'm saying, no, don't do it. Why?
It just shows you how spoiled those fucking Patriots players are. They're just like, I got like fucking 12 of these.
You got Brady to Gronk twice in the Super Bowl, but the most legendary after the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's the one thing I wanted to get to. Can we talk about how Gronk is the best at pulling it out for one game? He did the same against the Rams. I'm not sure if he had a touchdown, but he went off for like 100 yards after that was like his first like real down season.
Mm-hmm.
This year, he barely gets anything going just because the style of offense. Gets 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. He can pull it out for one game all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a game plan too, that they were just like, hey, everybody's going to focus on Evans, everybody's going to focus on Godwin, Antonio Brown. We could slide Gronk in the end zone, and that's what he's good for. But Gronk also, his boat celebration, like, he is from Buffalo, the Buffalo area. He played in New England where he won his championships. He's been waiting his whole life to celebrate a Super Bowl win in a warm climate. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
It's like 15 degrees in New England right now, and there's no championship. You go down to Tampa Bay, it's like 75 and sunny on a boat partying. Like, he was built for this.
Oh, yeah.
This is his time. It's crazy. I think, yeah.
And, like, you know he's going to go crazy because I've seen a video of him jumping a fan's car, and he gets so hyped for that. He's just the most, like, fucking hype person on the planet.
Well,
this is literally made for him.
He's definitely...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think after the Super Bowl with Atlanta, where he had, like, a messed up ankle or some shit like that, he's out in the club afterwards celebrating, jumping around on a fucking busted ankle.
Well, yeah, James Harden will be the first one to tell you strippers heal all injuries.
Yes. Lou Williams says just sprinkle a little lemon pepper wings on that.
He just wants some wings. Oh, you think... Okay, real question. Do you think Brady is going to, like, go nuts and celebrate and have, like, a scoop of ice cream?
Bro, did you see him? He was fucking blackout, my guy.
Incredible.
Already having avocado tequila, like, avocado ice cream is happening.
He said, fuck that shit. He
Okay.
said, I'm getting a whole Domino's pie, a pint of ice cream. I am blackout right now.
That's what happens when you break from the Patriot way. Belichick's like, yes, we celebrate championships by plugging into our next season. Brady's like, fuck that. Also, side note, I've had avocado ice cream. It's not terrible.
No, yeah.
It's not bad. I had
Really?
Mint flavored ice cream. It's like...
I used to work at an Italian restaurant, and the mom would make all this stuff. She was the sweetest lady. But she used to make avocado ice cream for, like, her sometimes, and she knew I was into that shit, so she'd give it to me. It's fucking fire.
Not bad. So, Tom, you might be onto something. Do we think... Where did we put that celebration in, like, the grand scheme of celebrations? Because, like, I think he's a little bit ahead of JR going shirtless for about a month straight in Cleveland. But nobody's going to quite reach Ovechkin winning the Stanley Cup. Because I don't know if you guys remember that. Ovechkin went on like a month-long bender where he showed up at the Nationals game. He sang the national anthem. He's hoisting the Stanley Cup. Then he shows up outside in like one of those fountains that's maybe like an inch or two of water. And he's swimming in it like...
I know, Ovechkin went nuts, dude.
Ovechkin, but that was different because that was his first. For Brady, this is number 7. He just doesn't care anymore.
I think you might have to give Brady number 1 just because, you know, new city, new town. I mean, new team, new players, old players, not giving a fuck about the trophy, just throwing it across the boat, getting fucking annihilated on the avocado tequila. Like, man is still having fun, and his social media game is on point.
I know.
I
That
hate
post was great. No,
I hate how likable he is now.
I know. He really is very, very likable.
What was I gonna say? We could get into that, but I was gonna say one more thing about the celebration was how many of these players do you think are just like when you talk about Gronk stepping up for the one game, how many players are gonna use this as be like, whoa, we can do this every year if we just keep winning championships with Tom Brady? Like, yeah, I'm all about this.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I get a once a year boat parade, fucking throwing Lombardis with strippers and shit. Like, best day.
Boat parade's got to be better than like. Dev, did you
Yeah.
Dev, did you ever go to one of the Giants parades?
I wish I could have, but I've used up all my skips in school, so I had to get my education on.
Oh, okay. Senior year, we all said fuck school and went to the Giants parade, and like that was fun, but it was still February in New York. It was cold. We were still like on a very crowded street corner. Doing it on a Tampa Bay boat, like that's got to be so much more fun.
Yeah, and Brady busted out his brand new $2 million boat for this whole thing.
I know nothing about boats, and I feel like that's not an expensive boat.
No, it was fucking nice.
Yeah, I bet it's nice.
Because it was like,
I bet it's nice.
I just saw a video of him pulling it in. It's like a speedboat, so it's not huge.
Does
So
he?
it's not like a yacht. Yacht, $2 million is like average. But for like a speedboat, like party
Does he
speedboat,
call it the goat boat?
he better.
He, better.
He should.
Or
Yo, someone send that shit to him.
Tom Bodie.
Bodie McTom Tom.
Damn it. Yeah, but just honestly, that was probably the funnest looking celebration I've ever seen. Like Pat Mahomes catching the beer was cool, but everyone does the bus thing. That always feels kind of like an actual parade. This just seemed like a party driving past people. Like
Yeah.
Right, they
You see-
took the situation they were in with COVID, and they're like, "We got a river, we got boats. Everyone to the boats."
It looked like a spring break type of like MTV event.
oh yeah.
But I don't know how COVID safe they were because the mayor came out and was like, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, the game was in Tampa, so it made sense. The first ever home team, like, of course they went nuts, but they went a little bit too nuts, and like, I think there's going to be a big spike. But whatever, that's fine. They won the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Well, that's Florida for you. Like they're kind of playing by their own rules.
I thought it was just like the players on the boats from the little things I've seen, but if they had other people there, that's fucking you gotta
Are you
not
kidding
do
me? You
that.
don't think Gronk's first thing was just like, "Hey, babe, just won a Super Bowl. Want to smash?" Yeah.
That would not surprise me, but I'm saying if it was just the team members on the boats, optically at the very least for like the NFL and them, I would have been like, okay, like I understand.
Well, it's not just that. You had all of the crowds around the bodies of water.
Yeah, I saw that, but
No, not a mask in sight.
that's dumb.
Well, yo, I hear like Tampa, that's what they do. They like don't give a fuck about masks. But yet you go down south to Orlando, maybe like an hour down the way, mask city.
I was hearing that. Me and you must have been listening to the same thing because I was hearing that from like I don't remember one of the radio personalities saying it's insane how you show up in Orlando and it's like just like New York, everybody's wearing masks, and then in Tampa it's just different world. But we're not here or there about that.
But yeah, just one last thing before we get off of this. When he threw the Lombardi Trophy, could you imagine how many people would have hit the water if that trophy went in the water?
Oh,
Like
everyone's.
but
died
I'm
of it.
saying like all the people around them, every single player, like, oh my, someone would have died.
Okay, in fairness though, if there's any combination of people that you trust throwing anything, just like anything from one boat to another, like it could be a billion-dollar glass china, like incredibly fragile thing. There's two people I'm gonna trust, one person to throw it, one person to catch it. Brady to Gronk is probably the top of the list.
I would say that if Brady wasn't fucking blackout.
That's normal for Gronk. That's baseline.
I'm talking about Tom Brady.
Don't matter.
Tom Brady, I probably hasn't had an alcohol since his last Super Bowl.
Was the pass complete?
It was, but it's still.
But we all
mad
know that
sketchy.
if that throw was off by just an inch, yo, that Super Bowl that Super Bowl trophy is in the water.
Someone would have
Just
died.
Just didn't.
It would have been a scramble. Someone would have been shouted fumble. Everyone would have jumped on it, and someone would have died.
Nah, I think Gronk would have dove in and caught it like right away. I don't know.
He was pretty damn drunk. Like,
That doesn't mean he's not gonna get it. Again, Gronk, that's baseline.
Yeah, that I'm not worried about that with Gronk.
Should we get back to actual football talk?
well, this is where I gotta go, get ready for work. Also, potentially wake up my daughter and whatnot. So, is it for me? I'll catch you guys in the basement again. Same time, same day, same next week. I don't know, but Tom Brady's still gonna be drunk off that avocado tequila.
Yes, he is.
Hell yeah.
Yes, he is.
Next time
I
you got to do that hockey.
Yep. Once we get more time in, because there's a lot of hockey going on. Columbus is is fun city right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You'll have to explain that to me.
That's it. That's what we call a teaser in the biz.
All right.
All right, y'all. I'll catch you later. Deuces.
All right. So after Tom Brady has now finished his redemption, his solo tour, I don't know what you want to call it, his fuck you Bill Belichick season. Basically, he's claimed his 7th ring, and like our caller said, he ended the debate. He's the GOAT. I don't think there's any denying any argument. I mean, we're Jets fans, so we hated him for so long, but we got to respect the guy has 7 championships, more than any franchise. He kind of proved that, hey, if you're really good and you join up with a bunch of other really good players like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, that's just the offense. The defense is pretty stacked. It can work by just throwing a team together for a short period. We obviously don't know what the future is going to hold. Brady's 43. He wants to play till he's like 75. Maybe he will. Godwin's going to be free agent. He might be gone. The defense, I don't know how you're going to be able to re-sign and Dominic Sue and JPP and Levante David. I don't know how they're going to be able to keep that core together. But it's led to this talk of LeBronization, as they call it, of sports, where you see players saying, they're more important than the franchise in a way. Like you see Deshaun Watson demanding his way out. You see Carson Wentz wants his way out. Matt Stafford very quietly, he didn't publicly go the full route of Watson and Wentz, but he asked to be traded and they found him a trade.
And I think Michael Kay had the best analogy, I think, for this. He said it in a weird way, but it was a really good analogy. He was just like, say you had a rubber ducky factory, right? Just little yellow rubber duckies. And this factory is treating the workers bad. All the workers say, hey, you're treating us bad, we're going to quit. That's fine. They can find more workers. But these players, these quarterbacks, are the workers, and they're the rubber duckies.
Right. They are the producers and the product.
So if the rubber duckies decide they're not going to be produced anymore, there goes your business.
This very quickly turned into an economics lessons of supply and demand and what happens when your workforce is also your product. So yeah, it's very strange. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to is they are it sounds weird to say out loud, but yes, these players are essentially the product because that's what the game is.
Right.
That's what it is. So
you want to see the best in the world doing it.
Exactly. And they've also reached the point where you see it a lot in basketball where players want to make these super teams or James Harden, we were talking about all for the last 2 months, forcing his way out of Houston to play with 2 other greats and stuff. But it's because, Brady's just proven, individual players can be bigger and better than franchises where, the Bucks, nobody was thinking they were going to win a championship last year. Here they are.
Once they signed Tom Brady, that's all anyone is talking about.
Throwing the trophy on boats and stuff. You see the Lakers were out of the playoffs for 4 or 5 years. LeBron comes, they had a down year, traded, got Anthony Davis, best team in basketball. It's so easy. The players have so much more control. And one of the things that we were talking about is with this Watson situation, you have guys like Brett Favre and all these old heads talking, why don't you just play for the team that drafted you? Just shut up and make your money and do your thing. And then Carson Wentz wants out, and it's kind of yeah, they should trade him.
Same thing with Matt Stafford. I know it's a little bit of a different situation. I understand he's put in the years there, but he still signed the contract. Aaron Rodgers was talking, people were talking about it for a little bit. No one said, oh, shut up, stop complaining. They just said, where do you think Aaron's going to go?
Yeah, well, we know Aaron's not going anywhere, but...
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's ironic that Brett Favre, of all people, is saying that because he literally, retired to get out of his contract with the Jets and with the Packers and just kept bouncing around teams. That was the Vikings team with Percy Harvin and Peterson and a really good defense, and he was chasing a ring.
Oh, yeah. It's honestly the same thing. And when you are also the product, you should have out clauses because, look at Houston. I know everyone's saying they traded D-Hop before he signed the contract. That's cool. I get that. That's a solid point. But they're also going around and making a bunch of other different moves, maybe smaller ones in scale, but a bunch of them peppered around, where I understand where Deshaun Watson feels like, okay, we signed a contract where I'm supposed to play for you and play my best. But you're also supposed to invest the resources into me and make it so I can win. And you're not doing that.
Right, and then you look at guys like Russell Wilson. Now he's talking about how he wants the Seahawks to beef up the offensive line around him. That's going to a different level of it where his body is his livelihood. If he's getting sacked more than any other quarterback in the NFL, his body's going to give out a lot quicker than if he's getting protected. Like, part of the reason that Brady's been able to play forever is because he's been behind nothing but great offensive lines in New England. Like, yes, he had the 1 year where he had the injury, which ironically came against Kansas City, and he did miss some that year, but like he's been able to pretty much not, constantly get sacked. Look at Carson Wentz, always getting sacked, always on the run. That's why he had the ACL injury. That's why he had the back injury. When it comes down to it, these guys are literally putting their bodies on the line. So if you're not going to put them in the best situation to win, why should they put themselves in a situation that could potentially be dangerous to their physical bodies, but their career?
I also think it's kind of different with Carson Wentz, though. Because Deshaun Watson proved that he's living up to his end of the bargain. He's playing top level. Matt Stafford playing top level. Fucking Russell Wilson, top level. Aaron Rodgers, top level. Carson Wentz had one good year and then couldn't finish it off because he got hurt. And I understand this part, like, that's the line. That's what we're talking about here. But at the same time, ever since he's come back, he's not been that guy.
Yeah, I don't think he has the same legs to stand on. Is
Right.
that a bad analogy because leg injuries?
He's literally the only thing he's standing on is that he has a guaranteed contract.
Right, and I think that's going to come back to haunt him because it's going to make a lot of teams not want to take him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I understand that there's certain players. Yeah, if Ben Roethlisberger has any gripes with the Steelers, dude's been there forever, perennial winner. They've been to playoffs, I think, every year, almost every year, always winning records. They've won 2 Super Bowls. Like, yeah, Big Ben has whatever he wants. Go for it. Carson Wentz does not have that.
See, at the same time, you using Big Ben, I wouldn't say he has that much of a leg to stand on because he did not play well this year.
He didn't have a line. He didn't have a running back.
Yeah, but still, like, he's been slowly diminishing over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Heavily. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying, like, if you look at his resume, he has 2 Super Bowls. He's been there for, I think every season he's been there, I think they've had at least a 500 record, right? He's produced enough that, yeah, if he says he wants whatever, you got to listen to him. I don't think Wentz is at that part.
I don't know, just like I'm saying, because of his age, just because it's a very what for you done for me lately league. You know what I mean?
And I guess the players are now saying, what have you, the franchise, done for me now?
Right.
I still think, like, you want to talk about this in basketball, you still see guys all the time. Like, Jimmy Butler had the infamous, practice where he went against the starters where it was him and the third team, and he was beating them, and he was just saying, you need me more than I need you, and he forced his trade. Like, he did what he wanted to get out.
But that's the thing with basketball. Basketball has guaranteed contracts, so the players actually hold all the leverage. When they can just, if you, like, you could have Pat Mahomes' contract. If none of that's guaranteed, fuck you, cut. It's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the guaranteed contracts that give them the leverage.
Right. And basketball also is just such a, every offseason, so many players move that nothing is stable. If that makes
Right.
sense. Like, I don't see LeBron leaving the Lakers anytime soon, but outside of him, like, in 3 years, the entire league's going to be flipped.
Yeah, but I also feel like it feels like more players have been moving because it's 5-man rotations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it just is. There just are more moves than ever.
I agree. But I think the moves are bigger. Like, I think a lot more players move in football than we think they do. I just think because of
5 on the floor at a time.
yeah, and opposed to 28 per game on either side. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it just kind of goes a little more under the radar.
Yeah, that's a good point. But to the main point, I think Watson, if he feels so betrayed by the Texans, and he isn't gonna, put his best product on the floor, do the best situation, be in the best situation he can to win and play winning football.
Right.
Why should he waste the prime of his career on a team that's not gonna support him? I think all for players empowerment.
He's been in the league, what, 4 years now? 5 years?
Yeah.
And I think they're about to go into their second rebuild with him, so
I mean, I'm surprised J.J. Watt hasn't also demanded out.
I mean,
He's got to be next, right?
yeah, but he's talking about it. Everyone's expecting him to be moved at this point. And I don't blame him. He gave, like you said, he became Houston's star child. I think it's kind of going to be like the same situation with Matt Stafford, where everyone in Detroit was just like, you know what, good for you, go get one.
Yeah, Stafford put in his years. He was there for so long, played through so many injuries. Dude had spinal surgery and came back to play for a 7-win at best team.
Was literally like the
When-
lifeblood of that city, the same way J.J. Watt is.
He went through the Calvin Johnson retirement. He went through so many rebuilds that turned into nothing. Like, yeah, he wants to play for a championship team. Go for it. J.J. Watt, what he did for the city of Houston after the hurricane,
Yeah.
like he showed he cares. He shows he's given everything he can on and off the field.
Right.
They just don't build a winning team.
He even said it. I don't care if you're fucking 0-15. You try to win that last game for your fans.
Of course. And he's the guy who's any situation is going to put everything he has into every play. Why wouldn't he want to at least put that effort into a winning team? Like we just saw with the Bucks, Brady signs this 2-year deal, and everybody wants to go play with Brady. So Gronk comes out of retirement. AB goes signs there. Leonard Fournette, once he is free, goes there. On defense, and Dominic and Sue joins them. I don't know if he was there last year, but they're able to build these super team and show like, hey, Drew Brees, you've been with the Saints for 15 years. You won 1 Super Bowl. I've been here for a season and I won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, you've been with the Packers forever. Won 1 Super Bowl. I've been in the NFC 1 year. I won a Super Bowl. So I think especially based on that, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more players jumping teams.
Oh, yeah.
Than previously, even though it's been happening.
Yeah, because I think, especially with the younger generation coming in now, it started with like, maybe not the Breeze Brady generation, but like the generation after that. I feel like it started. I'm worried about getting paid. I'm not worried about staying in the same city. I'm not worried about this. Like, yeah, would I like to be on the same team my whole career and like be that guy? Sure, but if you're offering me 30 and someone else is offering me 70. See you, pal.
I mean, these guys are going to get paid wherever they go. So what I'm saying is they're going to pick and choose based on the winning thing. Like,
right. I agree with that.
Like with basketball, is like Harden's going to make $48 million whether he's on Houston or whether he's with Brooklyn. But he knows he's getting a ring with Brooklyn, and more likely to get a ring with Brooklyn, no chance with Houston. Like Anthony Davis signed the super deal with the Pelicans, knew he was going to get paid, knew he wasn't going to win a championship. His first year with the Lakers, wins a championship. So in the NFL, I think these guys are reaching that point where they know, like, once they reach the threshold of I'm going to get paid, they're going to start ring chasing too. And I think teams are going to start building into not super teams because, like you said, 5 guys on the floor in basketball, it's a lot easier to dominate when 3 of them are superstars as opposed to the NFL. You have 11 on offense, 11 on defense, so 3 superstars, smaller percentage. But I think we're going to start seeing, like, I don't know, you have Galladay, you have Allen Robinson, these guys, Godwin, these guys are free agents. They're not gonna sign with the Giants. They're not gonna sign with the Jets. Like they're gonna go to teams that are ready to win.
My point with all this is not so much that like getting paid is a thing, but it's not that mentality of like when we were kids, the mentality was you stay with that team the whole time. You go through it, the ups, the downs, the whatever. You want to be on one team for your whole career, whether you win, never win, whatever. Maybe in your last 2 years, you might ring chase.
Yeah.
Where I think they've kind of seen through the myth. Because, like, that's what the owners want. They want you to be like, no, I feel pride in this. I'll take less money. You know what I mean? Or, no, I feel pride in this. Even though we suck, I'm not going to leave the team in free agency.
Well, yes and no, because part of the reason that, like, every sport is getting progressively younger is because the rookie contracts are so much less money. They're so much more team friendly that you see guys like constantly come in and are like 18, 19 years old in the NBA and just instantly making an impact because, yeah, you could spend all this money on a proven player or you could take a chance that one of these guys in the draft has a similar impact for an eighth of the cost. Like in baseball, part of the reason that you see all these free agents waiting late to sign is because teams are just like, yeah, we could pay him $40 million a year, or we could pull up somebody from the farm system that's going to cost us, $500,000 a year, and won't be as good, but it'll be a lot more team friendly.
I agree, but even those guys on the rookie deals are just like, okay, after this rookie deal, I'm going to go wherever gets me paid. I'm going to go wherever gets me a championship. I'm going to go wherever here. If that's the team they're currently on, cool, let's do it.
Well, that's why the NBA imposed the Supermax and all these things that
Right.
I wrote about in my book. Where like, yeah, the team that you currently are on can offer you more than other teams, which in some cases really comes back around to fuck that team, because if you look at like the Portland Trailblazers are prime example. As great as Damian Lillard is, and as great as he's been, they're not going to be able to afford to get him, you know, a third superstar, another player, because you have McCollum, which unfortunately hurt, having an unbelievable season. But to say, like, okay, now that we need a big man, let's go out there and trade for an Anthony Davis. Let's go out there and sign, you know, whoever, a Giannis. Like, they're not going to be able to do that because of all the money they have tied to Lillard. And Giannis signed his supermax, and they traded away the first-round pick to bring in Drew Holiday. And they're making moves to make it more competitive. In 2 years down
I thought that was a good move, by the way.
Well, we talked about this, I think, at the time. In 2 years down the line, if they're not competitive, they don't have a first-round pick, and they're not going to have any cap space.
Yeah, I agree. I had a point in that, but like literally the second you finish your sentence, it just flicked out of my fucking brain.
we're just rolling, moving from one thing to the next. We started with Watson. Now we're talking about Giannis's deal, and it's a lot of players empowerment, which I'm all for.
Yeah, I'm 100% for it. I'm not one of those guys where you signed a contract, you should honor it. Like, if you've been doing your part in the contract and just things aren't getting better, I completely understand me being like, look, you're going to make $1 billion whether I'm here or not.
Exactly. It's like everybody always gets mad when they see these big contracts and they're like, oh, you're going to pay him $30 million. Like, yeah, that's an insane, absurd amount of money for one person, but then you forget that the owners are billionaires who are making billions, and to them it's nothing. Like, they can absolutely afford.
This is monopoly money.
Yeah, like, that's what they do. So, I will always side with the employee over the employer. It's just I think it's going to be interesting to see how many super teams pop up for a year and chase the ring for 1 year.
Oh, yeah. I think that's going to be a big thing. But I also think that's going to be somewhat fun because, like, you might finally see a Jacksonville in a Super Bowl, or maybe, hopefully, the Jets.
Maybe the Jets can figure something out.
Hopefully, one time, maybe.
That brings us to another question. Is like, is it good for the game or is it bad for the game to know that? I mean, this is just sports in general. To know that like the team you cheer for can look drastically different from one season to the next. I read a stat online that the Detroit Pistons, who beat the Nets, we're going to talk about that in a minute because we had a call about it. The Detroit Pistons traded Derrick Rose and now have 3 players on their team that were on the team last year. 3 out of the 15-man roster. Like, what are you cheering for at that point if your team's bad and then the next year, brand new roster and they're still bad?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot less situations like the Deshaun Watson situation, because I think a guy like that is going to, I know I hated calling it LeBronization, but he's going to be able to LeBron and be like, look, I need a weapon. I need a left tackle. I need, you know what I mean? Like, I need this. Or, like, we're going to have some fun, all right? Like,
I think we're going to start seeing more of that, to be honest.
Well, I think in the short term, we're going to see more of it, but in the long run, eventually, teams are going to be like, look, we just got to find our guy and then figure it out from there.
We just haven't been seeing it with quarterbacks, but, I mean, look at, like, Minka Fitzpatrick 2 years ago on the Dolphins was like, this team fucking sucks, I want out. Traded him to the Steelers. Steelers have a great defense, and he's a huge piece of it. We were talking about Jalen Ramsey earlier in the show.
True.
Same situation. Jacksonville blows, I want out, goes to a great team to make them even better. Same thing, Leonard Fournette. Like, it hasn't necessarily been quarterbacks, but Le'Veon Bell is like, the Jets blow, I want out. Goes to the Chiefs, and it was like this, very close to winning a Super Bowl. So I do think it's going to be continuous.
I think Lev Bell's a different scenario, but I think it's only star players, like the Jalen Ramseys, like the Jamal Adams, star player.
Yeah.
But I think Lev Bell was different because I think he was never wanted there to begin with. That was a McCagnon deal, and Joe Douglas and Adam Gase didn't want it really.
Well, I think Lev Bell's thing was that he thought by going to New York, it was like the New York market, like I'll blow up and become a star, and then he realized like this team is so bad it doesn't matter that you're New York.
Well, and Gase wasn't fucking using him whatsoever.
And Gase was just that bad.
But I think the Jets they just didn't want him from the beginning because he was a McCagnon signing, and then they were just like, you know what, you're not worth the trouble for something we don't want. And that's why they were just like, you know what, fuck it, take the money, go.
Same thing with Adams.
Right.
But I do want to say that, yes, Chris and I have both been tagged many times in tweets and memes of how the Jets fired Todd Bowles to hire Adam Gase. Yes, we understand. Look, Todd Bowles is an excellent defensive coordinator, had the perfect game plan in the Super Bowl, was not a good head coach for the Jets. Both can be true. Both can be true.
See, I don't think he was a terrible head coach for the Jets. I just think he was a middling head coach. I think what screwed him was McCagnon.
I think he just didn't know how to coach an offense. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's an excellent defensive coordinator.
I also obviously think time management was something he needed to work on, but I think he was more of a middling coach, and McCagnon kind of screwed him because look what, I know it's Adam Gase, but look what Gase did with that same talent that first year. Like, not much, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he got us almost to the playoffs with Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And honestly, we should have been in the playoffs that year.
Yeah, that was the Bills.
And
screwing us,
fucking
yeah.
Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
I love Rex, but I hate him at the same time.
But back to the question of, is it good for the game? I think in some ways it is because, you know, like, as bad as the Jaguars were this year, they're going to be a whole different team next year with Trevor Lawrence, with all the cap space. They have a second first-round pick, Urban Meyer's coming in. So I think for the bad franchises, it gives you a sense of optimism, but it also, if you're a small market, you're fucked. Like, we're going to get to Trevor Bauer in a minute, but Trevor Bauer had a Cy Young year with the Cincinnati Reds. He was a free agent. He had the whole, where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? Cincinnati Reds were never in the conversation. The team that he, you know, won the Cy Young with, the team that pretty much gave him a chance to go from a star to a mega star. Like, everybody was talking about him all offseason. They were never in the conversation.
I also think that's a different kind of scenario, though, because baseball's more beholden to what their owner makes money-wise, you know what I mean? Like,
because they don't have a salary cap.
Right. Not just that, because they do have that, like, the luxury threshold now,
right,
which
but they don't have a minimum. Where every other sport outside of baseball has a minimum and a maximum when it comes to salary cap. Baseball doesn't, where now you're going to see, they're talking about it with Bauer as the example, but there are several players in the league that are going to make more money this year than the entire Pirates, Indians, and Brewers payroll.
And same with, like, Tampa Bay.
There's no minimum, yeah.
But see, that's the thing. Like, it's not even just that. Like, football, every team pretty much goes up to their cap space at the very least every year. Like, they might be, like, a few, like, 100,000, like, maybe $1 million off, like, here or there. But, like, whatever the cap is, like, they're pretty much at that number. The threshold in this is, like, what? What was the Yankees? They were at the threshold, like,
275, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But Tampa Bay was, like, $69 million for their whole payroll, something like that.
Right.
But that was the thing. That was all they could really spend because they just don't have money there.
That's what I'm saying. Other sports have revenue sharing where there's a minimum. Where it's like, this year the Pittsburgh Pirates are basically saying months before the season begins, our team is going to be bad. We're going to spend less than $30 million on the entire team, and we're just going to be bad. Like, they just know that. So in baseball, it really sucks because if you're a Pirates fan, you have no reason for optimism.
Yeah.
Where in other sports, like, sure, our New York Knicks are not very good, but there's a good chance that in a year's time, they can make a trade. They can sign a big free agent. We say this every year. So maybe not the Knicks, that's a good example. But
this year is the first time, like, I would accept that argument, but
okay, but not the Knicks, but I'm just saying in other sports, and you see it in football where teams can rise and fall pretty quickly. In baseball, like, we know the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, I guess sometimes the Cubs are going to spend more money than everyone else. So they're going to always be competitive.
You're so happy to put the Mets in that category
I'm so happy to put the Mets in that category. Oh, man, it's such a weird, nice feeling. It's also weird because, like, the Red Sox now aren't spending money, so it really is the Mets and Yankees having a rivalry.
Well, they just had that scandal. They got rid of Mookie Betts. Like, They're in full rebuild
See,
mode right now.
But Mookie Betts is another example of a guy who was like, look, if you're going to be your rebuild and you're not going to be a good team, trade me. Trade me to somebody who can sign me long-term, sign me for a lot of money. The Dodgers gave him like a 12-year, 13-year deal, paying him $30 million a year, and year one wins a World Series.
But that's the thing. I also think he was different because he was coming up on the end of a contract. Like, he was just like, you can either get value out of me now or get no value out of me at all. You know what I mean?
But he also had the pedigree of he was an MVP. He won a World Series. I think he might have won 2. Like,
yeah.
I get it. I'm just saying we're going to start seeing it started with LeBron going to the Heat and making a super team. Actually, it started, if we really want to get into it, it started with the Celtics, their big 3.
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach, all right?
It started before that, though. I don't know.
I just love saying that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
But, yeah. How did we get on that topic?
I don't know. We started talking about Watson and player empowerment. Brady saying, I want to start new and doing his thing and winning a Super Bowl. And
all of a sudden, we turned into an economics class.
There, we could talk.
So, since we're talking baseball economics, do you want to jump into Bauer now? Because I know you got some pretty strong periods.
Let's jump into Trevor Bauer. Fuck you, Trevor Bauer. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude. You need an ice pack? Your butt looks a little sore.
It's not that he spurred the Mets and didn't sign with the Mets. It's that he literally had on his website signed Mets hats. Hashtag LFGM. Like, let's fucking go, Mets. He was literally teasing us. That was... Dude, if you don't want to sign... Like, you don't...
that's... You know he did that because of the Barstool guys being like, yo, fuck Steve Cohen.
No, he did that because he himself is a troll. I get that. And, like, that's fine. But don't be a dick. Like, you don't want to sign with the Mets? Don't sign with the Mets. Don't literally sell Mets hats on your website with your name on it.
Bro, BDE energy, or just BDE all day.
Nah, that's just douchebag. I mean, I get it. He wants to go home. This is a real debate that Chris and I have had.
Hold on. If he did that to the Yankees, you'd be laughing your ass off.
That's different. That's the Yankees. Because nobody does that to the Yankees. If he did that to like the Miami Marlins, it would still be fucked up.
You'd be dying laughing. I know you.
Yeah, of course. But it's different because it's different with the Yankees because they are the Yankees and they pay everybody a lot.
Right.
When you do it to the Mets, who are like starting to dip our toes in the waters of spending money, like
no, I think they would have cut him a big contract because Steve Cohen was just like, we're going out getting everybody. Fuck everything.
But that's what I mean. Is like 1 year ago, we wouldn't even be having this conversation because the Wilpons would never do it. The Yankees, of course, went out and paid Cole $1 bajillion. Like the Yankees are always going to be in the conversation for the big free agents.
Right.
To do it to the Mets fans was just mean because we're never in the situation where we're like realistically like we can get him. I don't know. The main topic though is that you and I have been debating. I equate Trevor Bauer, reigning Cy Young winner, joining the World Champions. I equate that to Kevin Durant joining the Warriors.
And that's just not. That's not a comparable situation.
I think it is. You have the option of sticking it through. Not that anybody's going to stay with the Reds, but he joined a team that already has Kershaw, 3 Cy Youngs, Price, a Cy Young. You have Mookie Betts, an MVP, Cody Bellinger, an MVP, the World Series champions, and you're just like, yeah, I just want to win a ring chase and do it with the team that's already stacked.
True, but to counter your point, as we were just talking about with the Deshaun Watson trade, because I knew we were getting into this debate again, so I filed that shit away. You even just said yourself that one player on a basketball team is way different than one pitcher who starts every 5 games.
True, until you get to the World Series. When you're in the postseason and you can start a starter on 3 days rest multiple times in a series, you're going from Walker Buehler game 1, Bauer game 2, Kershaw game 3, do it again. Like, I would put money that they win the World Series this year. I will.
But that's the thing.
We all know I'm going.
But they have to make it to the World Series first. And baseball is not like basketball, where the regular season doesn't matter. As long as you're halfway good and can just get into the playoffs, that's when it starts to matter. I don't feel the same way for baseball.
Oh, I strongly disagree. Because
for 162 games?
You think there's any chance the Dodgers win less than 95 games this year?
What I'm saying is, there have been years where just for some reason, I'm not quoting a specific year, but just because it's players I know, where for some reason, for like the first half of the season, Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton all hit their slumps for the year.
Well, for them, it's always injured. But yeah, I see. I know what you're
You know what I mean? With such 82 games is a lot too, but it's just everyone knows basketball, the regular season doesn't matter. Where baseball, it's such a long season and these guys have their ups and downs and you see it every year. Like every year everyone's just like, Aaron Judge, best player ever, and then 2 months later it's just like, should we really like sign him for this huge contract when he comes up? Like he just strikes out all the time. Like, you know what I mean? So
it's different with pitchers and hitters, but I get your point. I just think when you sign a guy who's won the Cy Young, coming off a phenomenal season, has proven that he can, like, if he went and signed with the Reds, if he stayed in Cincinnati, we'd be talking about the Reds as winning that division, being a good team. Like, he has the ability, because, yeah, every 5 games, but still, that's pitching over 33 starts, something like that. That's
out of 162, though.
But that's still 30 games that you go from not winning to winning. Like, that still can make a huge difference. If he goes out and he pitches for the Dodgers and he goes like 21 and 5 this year, those 21 games can make a huge difference between them winning the division and the Padres winning the division.
Okay,
because the Padres got really good too.
But counterpoint, over the last 3 years, how many games has Jacob deGrom won?
How many games has he won?
Yeah.
I don't know, like 10? Probably like 15. But how many games?
Because he can't make that. Because he's probably the best pitcher in the National League.
But what I'm saying.
But he can't make that. He can't make that team good by himself.
But what I'm saying is, if he wasn't the pitcher, if it was somebody else pitching, those like whatever it is, you're right. They don't win for him, but those wins would be even fewer. Like if you take DeGrom off the Mets, we don't consider them a top tip team. Like they're a good team with decent pitching, but you throw DeGrom on there, and DeGrom's that guy that every time he pitches, that means one of every 5 games, you're in a good position to win.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, if you take KD and drop him on the Knicks right now, they're making the playoffs. It's not. I don't care who else they have. They're making the playoffs. If you take DeGrom or you take Bauer or you take any of these guys and drop them on, I don't know, who's the worst team in the league last year, and you drop them on that team, they're still not making the playoffs.
That's fair. That's a valid argument. I agree. I just think that the idea of you could go to a team that didn't win the World Series last year and you choose to join the World Series champions.
Do I think he's ring hunting? Yeah. But I don't think it's an apples-to-apples comparison.
I mean, there's never been a team that's won 73 out of 82 games, so it's different joining the Warriors, of course. But, like, I can tell you right now that in the NL West, you have the Dodgers, you have the Padres. There's no reason for the Rockies, who just traded Arenado, the Diamondbacks, who ain't got shit, and the Giants, who've been rebuilding for 5 years. Those 3 teams don't stand a chance. And I think that's bad for baseball. The Cincinnati Reds last year made the playoffs. Bauer had an incredible game in their postseason game because they only played 1 because they couldn't score for him, which is fair. But if Bauer wasn't there, they wouldn't have made that playoff game. They wouldn't have been where they were.
I get what you're saying, but it's because they had other pieces around it that he was just that next little hump over. You know what I mean?
He was their ace.
I know, but I get it. But if it was a bad team, just having him is not going to put them there. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's because they were already an all-right team, and then they put that piece on to be their ace to make them a playoff team.
That's fair. I get your point of, like, one pitcher doesn't have the same impact as one player in basketball. Totally get that. I just think it's a weasel move to be like, I want to join the World Series champions.
I think
if it was a year before, I don't even remember who won the World Series the year before. The Nationals. If he had joined the Nationals, I'd be saying the same thing.
But
well, that pitching staff would be ridiculous if they added him.
Like I'm saying, I would think it'd be more apples to apples if you had the best starting rotation and the best bullpen in all of baseball, and then you add Trevor Bauer.
They do.
I don't think the best, not for both categories.
Their bullpen was pretty lights out last year.
No, I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm saying
The Dodgers absolutely top 5 pitching teams in baseball last year.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is, like, as a whole, every single player is the best of their thing, because you have to understand, Clay and Steph are the best outside shooting people in the league. I don't care who you are. Maybe you can throw like Kemba in there.
Kemba's definitely not in there. Kemba's having a bad year. But yes.
I'm saying over normal times. But or I think sorry.
I don't know. Either
I
way.
mixed up a couple people.
But it like Bauer is joining a team rotation where you have 2 guys who've already won Cy Youngs and Walker Buehler, who could very easily win the Cy Young this year.
Right.
Like, I would put money on him to win the Cy Young. I'm going to put money on DeGrom winning the Cy Young. I'm going to put money on a bunch of different people. I think Blake Snell joining the National League is going to win the Cy Young.
If you pitch in Major League Baseball, Eric's going to put money on you to win the Cy
There's
Young.
a good chance I'm going to bet on you to win the Cy Young.
But yeah, so I don't think it's apple to apples. I don't think he makes as much of a difference as you're saying. Do I think they're already in the position to win this World Series next year without Trevor Bauer? Yes. Do I think adding Trevor Bauer helps? Yes. But it's not the same as putting KD with Steph and Clay.
The only thing I'll give you is that if I were to make a list off the top of my head of the 10 best players in baseball, he wouldn't be top 3, where Durant is definitely top 3.
Right.
So I'll give you that. I just think, and this goes for any sport, if you're a top player and you're going to go and join the champion, to me, it's just a weasel way out. Like, we're talking about,
But
we're talking about Brady.
But you just said how smart everyone was for joining Brady.
Yeah, but I'm saying now, it's if you're like Galladay or Allen Robinson and you go and you join Brady, you're ring chasing, and we say that's fine. Like, I think it's going to happen more, but it's still a weasel way out.
I don't necessarily agree. So let's move on to the NBA, because we can argue these points back and forth all day.
Till our eyes fall out of
we've
our
we've been arguing these same points back for probably like a week now.
So we got some news. We are New York Knicks fans, and we're welcoming back Knicks legend Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah, he was a Knick, but like never played, right?
No, he played a little bit. He wore number 25, which is kind of weird. Now he's wearing number 4, which is very weird. Derrick Rose had a legendary story from his first time with the Knicks. He missed a game, was missing in action, just didn't show up because the Knicks were playing the Pelicans. And on the schedule, it said NO for New Orleans. Allegedly, he interpreted that to mean no game and flew home to see his mother in Chicago and just didn't show up to work that day. Saw no on the schedule and was like, yeah, day off. Well, now he's learned his lesson that no means New Orleans.
He knows that now.
So the Knicks got Derrick Rose. It cost him Dennis Smith Jr.,
Who played, 3 games this season?
maybe less than a second-round pick.
Like, I think he's a good player, but he wasn't giving you anything this year, so I don't hate it.
So the Knicks have now lost back-to-back heartbreaking losses to the Miami Heat. The Knicks are still, I think, a game better than the Heat, half game better than the Heat in standings. I think the Heat aren't as good as we think they are, or aren't as good as they were last year, and the Knicks are better than they performed in those games. The Knicks need a scorer.
We're just talking about it too, like, it's nice as a Knicks fan to, like, be like, oh, fuck, the Knicks lost last night. Because usually it's just like, well, Knicks lost last night.
We stayed, like, usually, like, you could turn the game off halfway through the third quarter, and you're like, yeah, the Knicks are down by 20. They've lost by 1 possession to the Heat, the Eastern Conference champs. I love Bibbs. I love what he's doing, getting these guys playing hard. He's bringing back Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose and, reuniting his team a little bit.
And Derrick Rose had his best years under Tibbs.
True.
Just straight up. And second, I'm surprised they're playing him off the bench.
Well, it's been 1 game.
Yeah, but from what I hear, that's the plan moving forward, to get some veteran presence on the bench. But I think the main thing of that is just to bring in a veteran who's Tibbs' guy, who's just like, okay, this is the way we operate when this is our coach. You know what I mean? I think that's why he's bringing in these guys. I know you said it felt a little like we're just bringing in so many Tibbs guys and you weren't sure about that.
Well, because we saw the Minnesota Timberwolves do this a couple years back. They called them the Timber Bowls, where it was Tibbs, Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson, and Derrick Rose. So now they're running it back with Rose and Taj Gibson and Thibs. And like
Hey,
I'm for it if it works.
Bring Jimmy Butler to the Knicks all day.
All day. Jimmy, if you ever want to be a Knick, you got my blessing. Like, by all means. But they actually were showing a lot of pictures of them all talking last night at the Knicks game. But I just think the Knicks actually might be decent one day. I mean, it's like we were talking about. Players move around so much that who knows who's going to be on the team next year.
I just think with the coach now, he's an established coach. He's people that one that people know, and their biggest problem with him was that he ran people into the ground. He's even come out and said look, that's not how this NBA works. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I still think he's a hard ass coach. Don't get me wrong.
No, he still runs his players into the ground. Number 1 in the league in minutes played is Julius Randle. Number 2 is R.J. Barrett, and the Knicks have played less games than other teams.
No,
he's still running his guys.
No, I'm not even saying that. I think players like minutes. I think he was also running his team into the ground in practice. He was what I mean?
Well,
I think he's adjusted a little bit to just kind of how
yes
the
and
league
no,
works.
because I think this year, specifically with the scheduling, there's a lot more back-to-backs or 3 games in 4 nights.
Right.
And he's still fuck it, these guys are young. Run.
I think in game he's tipped. But I think behind the scenes, from what I've heard, he softened a little bit just to try to, and we'll see at the end of the season how people are feeling. You know what I mean?
I think also with the scheduling, there's less time for practice. But whatever, either way, the Knicks are competitive. And they play defense, which is gone in today's NBA. So
right.
I really think you get one scorer, one decent guy off the bench, and the Knicks could be a better team.
I honestly think.
God bless you.
Thank you. I honestly think if they play their cards right, no injuries, stuff like that, I think they could sneak into the playoffs as an 8 seed this year.
Yeah, this year they're teetering on 8 right now. I think they're a game out. Let's also just take a second and appreciate the fact. I'll put my hand up. We were dead wrong. We were dead wrong for wanting Russell Westbrook because he's having a horrible season. The Wizards are horrible. And
he had one great game against the Rockets just to shove it in their face.
Just because he was mad at the franchise. I mean, he still has the energy, and he still wants to be this great player. He just doesn't shoot well, and it's not.
Yeah, we were wrong on that one.
So we dodged a bullet there. That's cool.
Yeah.
We got our guy Obi Toppin. We haven't been playing him a lot, which is kind of weird. I guess he's coming off some sort of injury.
Yeah, and he's you saw it with Zion last year. I know he was coming off an injury too after his fucking shoe exploded or what the fuck ever.
Yeah, that was weird.
So
muscular, you break a shoe. I didn't even know he was muscular, just weight.
Yeah. But I feel like either you're an RJ Barrett who's kind of ready to go and just gets dropped in, or especially with the bigger guys, it seems like they kind of ease them in because their conditioning might not be there. They're
they're not big enough yet for the most part.
Yeah, so I feel like these bigger guys, well, not in Zion's case, but I think especially with the bigger guys like an Obi Toppin or Zion Williamson, you kind of have to ease them in a little more, make sure their conditioning's where it needs to be, especially when he's coming off an injury. So I think Obi Toppin will, by the end of the season, will be getting more minutes than Zion was at the end of last season.
With a lot of the big guys that come in, I mean, just centers and forwards in general, you see Marvin Bagley's finally having a good year for the Kings because he just needed to bulk up to be in shape. With Zion, it was the opposite, where you were just Zion's a bad weekend away from being fat. Zion, you might need to chill.
You might need to call Tom Brady, ask him for an avocado ice cream recipe, my guy.
Some TB12 shit. Hey, if he's winning Super Bowls at 43 and we're getting out of breath going upstairs, maybe we should do TB12.
Hey, I ain't taking no shots. I just turned 28 and I'm already oh, my knees.
Everything hurts, man. Just weird. Let's talk about the other team in New York. The Brooklyn Nets just ended a 3-game skid. They had a nice win over the Pacers. They held them to 30 points in the first half, which I think actually says a lot more about the Pacers than it does about the Nets.
They're looking for defense everywhere. They worked out Iman Shumpert.
They signed him.
Did they?
Yeah, and they signed Noah Vonleh.
Oh, did they?
Another 2 great Knicks.
I think they just very much need to find defense somewhere. And once they do that, it's golden.
Well, Kevin Durant is a great defensive player when he plays.
Right.
But he's in this really weird COVID situation that I was actually watching the game a week ago
Yeah.
where the NBA was like, he didn't pass protocols, take him off of the layup lines, say he can't play the game, which fucked me in DraftKings. Until, with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, they were like, yeah, no, he's clear. He's good. He's fine. So he plays the second quarter. He plays the third quarter, which means during halftime, they were like, yeah, it's fine. Everything's cool. Towards the end of the third quarter, they're like, wait a minute. Nope, he didn't pass the protocols. Sit out a week. So
They did it so well last year. And this year, every single week, I feel like they're doing something where it's just like, what was the thought process?
well, the thing is now, players can sweat on each other the entire 48 minutes of a basketball game, but after the game, you cannot shake hands. Because everybody knows
That's all optics.
Everybody knows coronavirus will wait until the game is over to transmit. That everybody knows that.
That's all optics. It's the same thing as like finding the Steelers for the mask thing. Like they're bumping into each other all game. Like you know what I mean?
They're tested literally like every morning. Rapid results. Like you know or you don't know. Like you know you do or you don't.
Right. But it's all optics. But I was watching.
Well,
If you haven't seen Brandon Marshall's podcast, I Am Athlete, it's absolutely great. But I was watching them talk about it. You have to understand these leagues, like these people are literally trendsetters, so they need these optics to be like, hey,
of course, they're
to influence everyone else, being like, all right, you know what, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, these people, like when they're close to each other doing this game, like they have their masks on, they see that they're more likely to be like, hey, maybe I should wear my mask than if these people are all like, just fuck it.
Oh, I fully understand that. I just don't like. What are the optics of? We'll let him.
No, I agree. It's terrible
The optics
optics.
Well, he didn't. He's got enough that he can't start the game, but not enough that he can't play. Like he can play the second and third quarter, but now he can't play for a week. Just weird. The NBA, the consistency isn't there.
And like I said, last year they handled it probably the best out of anyone.
It was a bubble.
This year, every week I feel like I'm seeing something where it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just there's no consistency. There's no. I don't know. It's just too hard. It's too hard to police it when you have 30 different cities involved.
Right.
Which is why so many players are coming out and saying, why the fuck are we doing an All-Star game?
Yeah, I agree.
And it's going to be in Atlanta. They're going to test and make sure nobody comes and do this and that. They're going to try to do it. They said they're going to do a dunk contest at halftime. So either you have an extraordinarily long halftime or an extraordinarily short dunk contest because halftimes are like, 15 minutes? Maybe 20 minutes for the All-Star game?
Right.
I don't understand the point of it. LeBron said he thinks it's a bad idea. Kawhi, Giannis, all of the influencers and trendsetters, like you said, are coming out and saying, there's a pandemic going on. Why are we doing an exhibition game for no reason? Like,
I could see if they like bubbled it, but like I don't think the players are gonna be like, yeah, I want to go to a bubble for a game that means fucking nothing.
no. And the way that LeBron said, and LeBron actually makes a really good point, is the way that they sold them on the season happening so quickly was that they were going to give them this week-long break.
Right.
Taking it away for what? I don't know.
I mean, you can opt out of going to the All-Star game.
Yeah, but that's talk about optics. That's just like
No, I agree.
that's a fuck you.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know what's going on with that, but Kevin Durant should be joining the Nets, I think, tomorrow or this weekend. The Nets have shown that when they're on, they are
They can
really,
outscore anyone.
really good. Like last night, it was 62-30 at the half. Harden had 10 rebounds at the half. You don't see guards getting doubles at the half.
Right.
3 games before that, they lost to the Pistons. They lost, they lost 3 in a row. So they still got a lot of figuring out to do, but I do think they have the most talent in the East.
They have the most talent in the East on offense, but only Kevin Durant plays defense. James Harden is good for steals, and you know what? I said, like, I don't know how these things are gonna like work out with each other. Harden has been facilitating. He's been playing more defense than he ever has, and like he's making the right moves. But he's just not that defensive guy. He's never been. Like you can only expect so much out of him.
Yeah. Well, naturally, like getting out of Houston, getting out of an unhappy situation to the situation you wanted, he's more motivated. It makes sense.
Right, but no.
And there's so much better strip clubs in Brooklyn.
Even through his whole career, true. Even through his whole career, like Like, he was good for steals, but he never played like crazy defense.
He's not a
he's-
lockdown defender.
He's putting his all in it, but it's just not who he is. You know what I mean? He's putting the effort. It's just effort and skill kind of it meets at some point.
And we keep going back to it. Look at that coaching staff. It's the D'Antoni, Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire team from the early 2000s.
And Steve
Phoenix
Nash
Suns.
is pretty much learning on the job. So
Steve Nash is learning on the job, and he's admitted. He said he doesn't, like when the whole Kyrie thing was going on, he was like, "Hey, we'll see how it plays out." But I think that's a lot of basketball coaches these days are just like, these are players who've been literally just training basketball nonstop since the time they were like 7 years old. They know the game inside and out. Sure, obviously they need coaching, but do you think if you don't have a coach there that these guys can't figure out the right play to do? Like,
yeah,
it's different.
look at like Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying like you let Steph and Clay cook and you let them make some decisions here or there. Like
Let's go back to that because Steph is having an unbelievable season, second in the league in scoring. The Warriors are in the playoff picture, and your boy called it. I said he's going to have an MVP type season. I don't think he's winning the MVP over Embiid right now, or honestly, the Joker's having an unbelievable season. But
dude, Embiid came out of nowhere this year. Like I know he's always been like a perennial like borderline all-star at the very least, but like this year he's like stamping on it.
he got in shape. That's where his conditioning is where it needs to be, where he's not getting people aren't beating him at the end of the games. Like
right.
he's just shows when players really dedicate themselves. Anything's possible if you believe in yourself and exercise, kids.
Hey Zion, I have an avocado ice cream recipe for you. All right, just give me a call.
Zion's just got to do whatever training Embiid went through. That Pelicans team is going to be really fun because Brandon Ingram is a bona fide star.
I think obviously Lonzo Ball is not what LeVar Ball made him out to be, but I think he's a solid role player on that team. Like, you know what I mean?
He's been balling out of late.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the balls for a second. That's never not going to be funny. LaMelo? LaMelo is damn good.
Dude, he's the one.
LaMelo is I was watching the other night. He had 7 threes. He passes well. He rebounds. He's fast. I mean, he's got like I was saying a few minutes ago, he doesn't have the size, but again, he's 19. He played in New Zealand last year. Like, kid didn't miss a beat.
Owns his own team. Like,
kid is good. I mean,
no, like he really is. He's what we were expecting to see from Lonzo.
But like LaMelo, they started talking about when he was 15.
Right.
He's gonna be that boy good.
No, I agree. Ugh. You feel so bad for LiAngelo.
Nah, he's coasting off his brother's success. That's fine.
I know, but
It's
still,
fine.
just being the one brother who can't get into the league, got worked out by like the Pistons, then dropped.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Lonzo starting point guard for the Pelicans, LaMelo starting point guard for the Hornets. LiAngelo has his own podcast somewhere. Like,
And is playing for like the team him and his brother own.
he's
Like,
probably gonna play in China or the G League.
well, no, Pistons already dropped him.
Yeah, but he can still sign with the G League.
Yeah, but if a team wants to pick him up,
There's now the G League Ignite team, which is not an affiliate of any NBA team. It's literally just guys who spurned, ditched, said fuck you to Coach K and Kansas, Kentucky. There's I think 5 players in the top 50 recruiting class, and they all just basically went to this team and said, we're going to play for whatever, $100,000 because it's better than not getting paid in college.
Yeah.
And the result, and we've said it before, is you see Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, and UCLA are all not ranked for the first time since the 1961 season. 50 years. 60 years.
and even like $100,000 is life-changing money. If you can get just like a head start on people, like it's literally just a head start for them. Even if they only play 1 year in the G League, make $100,000, that's a head start to, pay off college loans or put a down payment on a house or.
Well, here's the kickers, because this team isn't affiliated with any NBA franchise. They can now enter the draft next year.
Yeah.
So they're getting $100,000 this year. Like you said, they rent an apartment, get a car, do whatever. Next year, they get their rookie deals. They buy their mama house.
Right.
Yeah.
I really love this whole G League thing.
Yeah.
If they're not going to let people come in out of high school like LeBron did anymore, like.
Well, it's cool because this team is all of these high school guys, but it's Jarrett Jack. he's on the team too.
Right.
It's like he's a bona fide NBA player. Amir Johnson, guys who have been in the league for more than a cup of coffee. Like Amir Johnson was on the Celtics in the playoffs 2 years ago. Jeremy Lin. Lin Sanity's on the whatever, Santa Cruz Warriors, Santa Barbara Warriors, whatever their team is. So the G League is dope.
I was surprised to see that. Cause like he's loved over there in China.
Yeah, but why? I mean, he wants the competition.
I get it. No, trust me, I do.
Actually, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Have you ever seen the documentary of Stephon Marbury?
I have not.
He goes to China. He's a legend in China. They
Oh,
have a
yeah,
museum for him in China. Cool stuff. Should watch that.
He's like I know he didn't play there, but what's his name? Dennis Rodman in like North Korea.
Yeah.
Like he's like there's literally like giant 100-foot statues of fucking them built.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
In the documentary, you literally see he takes a tour of the Stephon Marbury Museum.
There you go.
It's half dedicated to his NBA career, where he was with the Knicks and the Nets and whatever. Half dedicated to his Chinese career. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
So that's talking Stephon Marbury.
Who knew we were going to talk about that in 2021?
Yeah, it's a weird year. It's weird stuff happening. I do want to touch on one more little tidbit from the Super Bowl.
Right.
The streaker.
You can't call that a streaker.
Didn't go full nude, but he wore a Borat bikini, so...
He was not hanging sausage, all right?
Which is, obviously a lot better for him from a legal standpoint.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't get the indecent exposure. I think you'd have to be a sex offender, because I'm sure there are kids there. We got to put to bed this story. The story goes that he put $50,000 on himself on the prop bet of a streaker running on the field. He took $375,000 home, paid a $1,000 bail, and cashed out with $374,000. It is not true.
Yeah, it's not.
There's no way this happened, because if it was with a legitimate sports book, they would obviously, one, tell Darren Ravel and all the sports reporters that somebody put $50,000 in a prop bet. Two, I think they would have to flag it. Wouldn't they be like, well, this is something you could very easily manipulate?
Yeah.
Three, if it was a private bookie, just somebody on the side, would they have $375,000 cash to shell out? Maybe.
I mean, yeah, there are, but still, this is not a true story.
But even if it was, it would still be like that person would be like a mob enforcer or a cartel guy, something like that. And Tony Soprano's like, what the fuck's going on here? You just set me up? Like, you set me... It's not a true story.
Yeah, it's just not. Honestly, though, it was my first thought when it happened. I was like, yo, I bet he put money on that prop bet.
We did talk about it. And we were like, yeah, with COVID, it probably won't happen. I don't know. I good for him for doing it. He didn't bet on it.
I forget who it was, but the call on it was great. Fucking get up, put your pants on, and be a man.
Kevin Harlan does not take that shit.
He was fucking so upset.
Dude, Kevin Harlan's the legend who last year or 2 years ago, called 2 different football games at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
How do you do that?
Practice and dedication. Actually, that's what Red Zone is. All right, so...
I know, but, like, he was calling full broadcast for both games. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that was unbelievable. Didn't miss a beat. Play-by-play for both of them.
Oh, yeah. All right, but I think that's it for us.
We do have a request. We need it. We need you guys, listeners, callers. Need you guys to call us in. Football season's over. You gotta tell us what you want to hear about. We're gonna dive into baseball. We're gonna talk football off season. I'm just so stuck in football. I love football.
We're gonna there's gonna be enough trade rumors that we're still gonna be talking.
We're gonna talk football off season. Yeah, but this is like 2 months till baseball. Things are slowing down. Devin's gonna do that hockey. I'm going to try to talk basketball.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get deeper into basketball.
We're going to do some pop culture. If there's any Netflix shows or anything you guys want us to talk about. I've recently started the Cecil Hotel, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. Spooky.
I know a lot about that story. They lose me when they're just like, yep, ghost put her in there.
You think she was just drunk and fell in?
I think she was like fucking like
We're talking
tripping nuts or something.
Talking about Elisa Lamb disappearing at the Cecil Hotel and ending up in the water coolers. I think she was killed. I think she was murdered and put there.
That that's totally fine too. Like,
That's
You-
not fine.
you know what I mean. Like, it's like it's a fine idea. Like, I accept that. But once they're just like, yep, fucking,
Supernatural.
like the Night Stalker killed her from the grave, I'm just like, all right, you lost me.
Guys, The Night Stalker, another documentary series on Netflix about a serial killer. I watched it. It's only 4 episodes. You watch it.
I have not watched it, but I will.
If you watching, you listening, if you've watched it and you want to call and you want to talk about it, I'm all ears.
You know, it was actually a lot more interesting documentary than I thought it was going to be.
What's that?
The 6ix9ine documentary on Hulu.
I have not watched that.
It was actually like, it goes so much deeper. Like, you knew it went to criminal enterprises and all that stuff, but it like there's just so much more to this story than than what we've seen. Just the little tidbits coming out from like the trial and stuff.
I'm all about that. Fun fact: a couple years back, I was 6ix9ine for Halloween, like 3 or 4 days before he was arrested for his sex crimes. I didn't know.
Was it fucking Treyway?
Trey Way, yeah, probably shouldn't yell that. We're gonna have to bleep that. Speaking of Hulu documentaries about singers and artists, I watched the Britney Spears one with my girlfriend. Free Britney. Hashtag Free Britney.
No, yeah. If you really go into like how her life was, like back in the 90s and the like early 2000s, like fucking that. I feel so bad for that girl.
It is so sad because there was no winning for her.
None.
It was literally like she was. I mean, obviously, yeah, she was very sexualized, but
At like 16.
Even when she wasn't being sexual, they were like, she's too sexual. Blah blah blah. Like she shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be doing that. And then they're asking Justin Timberlake, like, did you guys fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like you're not high schoolers. Like,
But also, people forget that, like, the Hit Me Baby One More Time video, she was 16 in that.
yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like, you know that means when she was like 14, 13, being discovered.
Someone was
It's
just like,
like-
yo, put a tiny little schoolgirl outfit on that.
This is getting real weird.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, man.
No, like, Britney Spears is, like, people make fun of Britney Spears. Like, we all went through her, like, everyone, like, railroaded her when she shaved her head.
Did you watch the documentary?
I haven't, no, but I've
But that's the thing. Is
I've
like,
seen my own little things about this whole thing. Like, people were killing her when she was just. The media was killing her. Her own people were killing her. Her label was killing her.
there's
Like,
nothing she could do was right. But she even said like the paparazzi was just too much.
right.
Which I would imagine is just a lot to deal with. You can't just go anywhere.
Little side story. You know who I think had the best idea for paparazzi?
Who's that?
I think it was Elijah Wood. He just wore He just wore a
Yeah.
black T-shirt and jeans and the same coat every day. So the paparazzi literally couldn't sell the photos because they were just like, I don't know if you took this today, yesterday, fucking 3 months ago. He did it for like a year and a half.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. The modern problems call for modern solutions. You got to play the hand you're dealt.
Little Dave Chappelle meme right there.
That's good. Speaking of Britney Spears, though, there's All right, we're doing it. Put on your tinfoil hat. There's
Oh,
a
God.
huge conspiracy that George W. Bush was pulling some strings. The Bush administration was pulling strings so that everybody would focus in on Britney Spears to take away from the distraction of his second term being a failure, getting us into the economic crisis and the failed response to Hurricane Katrina, just to kind of take pressure off of him and use her as a distraction.
I mean, do I think like someone like a Fox News would pump that story up way more than what the president was doing wrong at the time? Sure. But I don't think like he orchestrated like, hey, Brittany, I'm going to need you to shave your head.
You do an excellent George W. Bush. You should bust that out more often. Yeah, but free Britney, the conservatorship or whatever it's called, has to end.
Fuck her parents, dude.
She's just dad. Oh, that's another thing. That's another thing is the dad is named Jamie. The mom is named Lynn. Jamie Lynn Spears.
Right? How, like, self-centered as fuck.
That's wild.
And honestly, Jamie Lynn having that kid probably saved her from the same fate as Britney, because she was building up just like that.
Yeah, but just like
Through acting instead of music, but
just like think of your parents and if your name was just like dad name, mom name.
I mean, my name is Uncle Name Dad Name.
Is it? I mean,
And my initials are my mom's initials. Like, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So there's that. But anyway, yeah. So, but I think that's it for us today.
Be watching a lot of documentaries.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna jump into a couple of these after I finish editing this. Like,
All right. That's all we got.
all right. I'm Chris Gray, Eric Mincer. Dev said bye already. See ya.
Stay positive. Test negative.
Get vaccinated.
Welcome to the basement.